Howdy, 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 my darling Virgo. My name is SimplyVelca, and today we're going to be getting into your weekly tarot reading, Virgo, for March 2023, the end of March, going into April, darling. All right. So if you enjoy this tarot reading today, be sure to check out your sun, moon, and your rising sign. That's how you make these general tarot readings on YouTube. Resonate the best for you is catering these tarot readings to your astrological chart. All right, darling. And remember, Virgo, beware about fake accounts. The only place I do my private readings is one-on-one on my website, SimplyVelca.com. All right, so just be aware about that. I have your Celtic cross already laid out here, Virgo, and so I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I see right now in this tarot reading, so you'll know, Virgo, if this is your reading or not. Where I see for this Virgo right here is someone that was disappointed, someone that was hurt in the past here. And this is fairly recent. I feel like in the past 2 or 3 weeks here, there's some type of pain, some type of needing to detach and starting to have a tower moment if it hasn't already fully happened. And so I feel like in response to that tower moment for this Virgo here, you are in this place of, I'm not like you're a new age spiritual person, darling, where it's just only feel high vibes, darling. We just pretend and ignore these low vibes that people consider anger and all that. Low vibe, they just pretend they repress it. That's not me, darling. All right. That's just not me. So I guess I'm not no starseed, indigo, rainbow, whatever the hell, darling. All right. But I see in this Virgo here someone who is taking a crappy situation and using anger, your pettiness, or just whatever your feelings are. They're just heavy feelings from that disappointment, and turning it around from a place of using that as a motivator for what it is that you're going to be creating in your future. All right. And so it's very much so I'll prove it to them. I'll show them what it is that you, or I say I'm, but this is for you, are possible for Virgo. All right. So a lot of opportunities are going to be coming in response to that. I really do feel like for many of you Virgos as well, in response to this tower moment as well, that you're going to be noticing more people coming in from your spiritual tribe. All right. Now this is channeled, darling, partially from these tarot cards, so take this as you will. I do feel like there's going to be a community of people, and I say community, it could be 3 or 4 people that you don't meet all at once, Virgo, but they start coming into your life as you start leaning into more of your highest power here, more of you committing to doing something in a way of proving to other people what it is your potential is. Could be career, could be just yourself, what have you. Very much so revenge body, but not revenge body. I mean, it could be for some of you Virgos, but revenge life, we'll put it that way. And it's through using that, what is usually seen as that negative energy, but making it to your advantage, and it really does something beautiful. All right. So let's get into these cards here after all this. The zodiac signs that I see here that are coming very strong out in your tarot reading is very strong Scorpio, Leo, and other earth signs. So Tauruses, other Virgos, and Capricorns. All right. So if that's in your chart, in your big 3, maybe check out those readings. So getting into your oracle card, the overall reading for this week is the crown games. All right. Right use of power here. All right. The number 8 as well as your number for this week. So look that up in numerology, see what messages that has for you this week today, Virgo. But also the number 8 is associated with the strength card, which is associated with Leo. So very strong Leo energy here, Virgo. But this card is saying right use of power. I feel like for you, Virgo, it's I don't like to villainize another energy, right? Because I feel like that's very juvenile, and especially when it comes to these general tarot readings, not everybody is bad, But I feel like for you, Virgo, whatever happened in the past, you were just either disturbed, disgusted. There's something in the sense of where, you didn't like something about that. And so you want to prove to that energy. It's you chose to separate yourself from it and then prove to that energy, being you know what? You can be a good person and be successful. You can do this and still, there is this sense of, I don't know why, but it's the sense of not showcasing how you can win, how a good person can win. You know how there's this saying where it's oh, nice guys finish last type of thing here. I feel like you're going to be really changing the narrative here. All right. Especially if you've been dealing with some injustices with your job situation, maybe a crappy boss or a manager. In a friend group, it could be just a crappy friend who's very two-faced, or a family. It's very much so proving to what you perceive as someone as a crappy person or a crappy situation, and being like, you know what, I'm going to be the very opposite of that and show what's possible by being a good person. That makes sense? So enough of me babbling, darling. Let's get into your tarot reading, Virgo. Going into this, your current situation is the Hanged Man. And so you have gone through, I know this is such a cliche thing. I usually avoid saying words like awakening and enlightenment and stuff like that, especially awakening, darling, because Virgo, I feel like it's just so overused. Like someone could get off the toilet and be like, I had an awakening. Or it's just like they had some shower thoughts and like, oh my gosh, my pineal gland, it's washed off, it's rinsed off from these bubbles. Awaken. I try to avoid that, but in this sense here, in your current situation, you have the Hanged Man, Virgo, where the Hanged Man is seeing things from a completely different perspective, right? And then some people, I usually will see this as like the sun, but it also can represent in other illustrations, Virgo, other illustrations of the Hanged Man. This can represent like your mind, like waking up and like being very connected with spirit through committing to an action, like a leap of faith or what have you. And so I say all this to say, darling, I'm really like going a million words a moment, but I feel like this wake-up call happened to you. You have that 3 of Swords, darling, Virgo. All right, that's in your challenged position. Something forced you to see things, see people in a different type of way, but it was because of that situation there. You're just like, you know what? It caused the change that was necessary to happen. Whenever I decided to quit my 9 to 5, well, it was real. I worked graveyard shift. I was working 10 p.m. until 6 a.m. in the medical field, but I digress from that. Like when I was working there, I was miserable at my job, but I was not going to leave my job because I was still comfortable. Like I was miserable, but it was a comfortable miserable. Sometimes this is not going to be for my privileged folks. This is going to be for like the people who've dealt with trauma, dealt with life, honey. But like, when you're in like a crappy situation, like you kind of have to just detach yourself. So it is what it is. At least you're alive type of thing. That's kind of where I was. You're in survival mode and it was like bearable. And so what inspired me to quit my job was because my job started making me uncomfortable, and then that is what pushed for me, was perceived as like a 3 of Swords. That 3 of Swords pushed for me to be like, you know what, Hanged Man moment, I'm done here. I quit my job and I'm starting my own thing, and look at me now. Take that as you will. That was a few years ago, so did it make a positive impact? I mean, you're watching me now, so I guess maybe. And so I feel like that's where your situation is at, is where it's like you're kind of long overdue to like start like a foundation that you feel comfortable with, right? Because that's in your focus right now. You have the King of Pentacles here, Virgo. You're in this place of wanting to build and have something to your own name. I feel like you want to be a lot more in control of your environment, and be in a place, I feel like, especially for my Virgos that are like wanting to have like a financial raise here, I feel like financially for you, things are going to start improving. It's going to take a little bit of work, all right, to get to the point of where you want to be, but it's going to get there, So it's like when I quit my job and I started doing all this as a tarot reader, the finances were a little bit low when I first started, we were eating a lot of rice and beans for a while there, right? But as things continue developing, the money starts coming in. And that's how I feel like things are going to be for you, Virgo, where it's just like, yeah, it's a little bit uncomfortable first. You have to, pinch pennies a little bit there. Because this is just life, let's just be realistic here. I know sometimes with the tarot reading, it just makes it seem like you just will like wake up one day and have $1 million in your bank account, right? And, and everyone knows your name. Not realistic for 99.9% of people, right? And so I have to be honest with you about that. But I can tell you it's going to be worth it. In your recent past, you have the 10 of Wands, another heavy card. Tens represents closures to cycles. And so it feels to me like, Virgo, whatever happened, it was kind of just due. It was kind of at that point where it's just like, all right, like, it's kind of like a feather that broke the camel's back. It was something that kind of pushed you to this point of being like, you know what? I'm done. It wasn't like the sense of like one thing happened and then you're like, oh, I quit, because you're not a quitter, Virgo. There was like thing after thing after thing, after enough stacked on top of you, then you are pushed to this point. You're just like, it's done. I can't do this anymore. Broke the camel's back, right? Possibilities for you. 4 of Wands. All right. This is one of the cards I was saying to you Virgo, of why I was feeling as if like someone in like more of your soul tribe. So, your soul tribe could be soulmates, because soulmates don't have to be romantic, your twin flame, darling, all those lingos, right? Just, I like to say people that you just feel nostalgic to when you immediately start connecting to them, right? That Four of Wands comes in for you in possibilities of saying just like, through that disappointment, especially if it's people, yeah, it sucks, but don't allow that to have you be too rigid in your views on life and people, because it's very possible for in the coming days, you're going to be finding people that are of your match that could help build that King of Pentacles type of life that you put such a strong focus on. Does that make sense? Just because you were hurt in the past by a person, there's millions of other people in this world. They're not all the same. You're evidence of that, right? So that's what I see for you. It's like, still keep an open mind. Yeah, you can have some trust issues, but don't become an impenetrable wall. All right. In your near future here, you have the Tower card, all right? And so this is the transformation, darling, all right? This is the transformation. I do see travel coming in for you here, especially because in your power position is the Eight of Wands. I do see travel coming into your life and just like overall just straight up moving of environments here. It's almost as if for you, Virgo, you might start planning things. Like, here's the thing. Like with this King of Pentacles, it's like you're about to be building like a strong foundation for your life, where you're creating a life for yourself where you're fulfilled emotionally, financially, socially, so on and so forth. But it doesn't just happen overnight, and it's not something I feel like you can create immediately. For some of you Virgos, it could be a situation where it's like through all this sense of awareness, you have this tower moment in your head about a situation, and you don't act on the tower moment, but you're living your life the rest of your days as if that tower moment has happened, and started doing the preparation work to be able to then leave that job and do that transition, and then allow that full tower moment to fully manifest, right? So it's like when you no longer feel called to your job, you don't just up and quit. You start planning things, and you realize just like, all right, this has reached its expiration date. As things continue to devolve, I'm going to start putting out resumes and, so on and so forth, right? And then when the moment comes, you're fully prepared, right? You're very intelligent, Virgo, right? And you don't need to hear that. Like, you already know that, but it's like very calculated is how I see your life going down in your environment right now, Virgo. All right. This is another reason why, this pairs with that Four of Wands, darling. This is in your environment, that Knight of Cups here. What I was saying before, it's like, yeah, there's people coming into your life in response to you, in response to that tower energy. So this leads me to believe like the next chapter of your life that you're wanting to start to have that King of Pentacles, darling, is very possible in your environment right now. And so the people in your life that you could be attracting, that's part of your soul family, this is not going to be something that's like, 6 months down the road. This is in real time for you, where they're reachable at this current point in time for you. As well, how you get to that King of Pentacles chapter of your life, Virgo, it's something that already is in your awareness, right? This is not some like random inspiration. Like you haven't ever thought about being a baker, and then next week the idea of creating like a bakery happens, and then that's what you do. Like, no, this is something that's already been in your awareness. When I decided to quit my job to become a tarot reader, I already had been reading tarot cards. I already been having a spiritual practice for 10 years at that point, or about 10 years. And so, do you get what I'm saying, Virgos, where it's like where your energy is going is something that the seed was already planted, In your hopes and fears, you have the Strength card, all right? Virgo, this is like the most wholesome part of this reading here, because it's like in your hopes, you're really just hoping like that you're strong enough. I feel like there's just like this hope of like, you're not really asking for much. You're just asking to be able to keep your head above water, and it's very possible for you, and it is going to be what's happening. I have a sneeze coming on, so if you see me making a funny face, Virgo, that's why. And I'm not trying to, I paid like $500 to $600 for this audio setups, and so y'all would really hear a crispy freaking sneeze if I did it. So I'm trying to avoid it. But it's like, you just want the confirmation that things are going to be okay, right? You're in this point in time where it's just like, you know what, Velka, like, I don't care what my life is, I don't care about the details. Just tell me that I'm in a safe space. Tell me things are going to calm down. Tell me things are going to stabilize in my life, right? And I really kind of see that for you. I really do. I wouldn't, I gain nothing from lying to you, Virgo, right? It's not, it is what it is. Whether you agree with me or you don't, you like the message or you don't, it doesn't impact my life, right? So it's not like I'm trying to just like sweet talk you, even if you agree with everything, it changes nothing in my life. And then in your future, this is the third card here, Virgo, confirming why I was saying beforehand. Again, I really do feel like your soul tribe is coming actively around you. Now, again, don't attach a label to this. I'm the type of reader, I don't like to attach like romance or anything, because newsflash, darling, not everyone gives a shit about love. Some people are already in a loving relationship. Some people don't want a relationship, and if I were to say like strictly being like, this is a love reading, then people would just be assuming and like seeing things from that scope or from that filter, and not consider that some of your soul family is like your new friendships. Does that make sense? And so when I say just new relationships in that soul family, I'm very purposely being vague about it, because I feel like it could be anything. The Four of Wands has associations with marriage, so it has potential in it being romantic. The Knight of Cups, I mean, this person's offering roses, right? Having a picnic, strong relevance to romance. But then you have the Three of Pentacles, platonic, working together on something, right? And so I don't know. I have a habit of over explaining, but I feel like you get my point of where I was going with all this. It's like your future is really solid here, Virgo. All right. And so, as I was saying, like, I feel like this could be strong. Like, I see the relevant earth signs. So it's like Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, and Leo. Those are the zodiac signs that I see coming really strong in this tarot reading here. All right. So take that as you will. Let's get into your oracle reading now, starting with the polar bear. All right. Standing up for yourself, Virgo, and speaking your truth respectfully and compassionately with no attachment to the outcome. So it's like speaking your truth and like kind of like going to your boss and be like, hey, this 9 to 5, like, I'm getting burnt out. So either like give me a raise, or, these are my standards. These are my boundaries. Can you honor them? If you can't honor them, then you walk out. Sometimes people make the mistake, Virgo, and when they go into doing something, they are not confident enough to commit to an action, right? And so, for example, if you have like this miserable work environment, this is what happened in my life. So I'll just use my self as an example, because I don't like to portray myself as some super evolved being, darling, right? In my work environment, my nurses, my CNAs, y'all already know the drill. We're so common to be understaffed, and so we were always constantly understaffed. We never had the nurses or CNAs for my place, and so I would constantly be like, hey, like, I can't do this anymore. If no change happens, I gotta go. And then they would just say things to make me complacent, and then still never recruit more people or hire new people, right? And so I would always make that, it was kind of like an empty threat almost, without really making it being a threat. And so, this is the type of energy with that polar bear where it's just like, hey, this is my boundaries. You can't just respect me, right? Don't speak to me like that. And then when you say that, you have to be willing to commit to it and be like, all right, like, if they choose to not respect it, you have to be willing to walk out. And I feel like you already have started to get to that point, Virgo, if you're not there already. And then your moon oracle card for today is the first quarter moon in Sagittarius. Believe in your good luck, believe in your good luck. Believe in that you're able to handle the future of, this new chapter of your life. Believe that you have some good luck. The reason why you might not feel like you have good luck is because you're in a miserable environment, right? So that's the weekly tarot reading that I have for you today, Virgo. Hopefully something in here resonated with you, darling. If it did, you already know what to do, honey. All right. And I'll leave a link down below to winningpond.com. It's from my friend's website / newsletter, Minnow Pond Tarot. You probably have heard of him before, darling, and seen his videos. It's a new spiritual newsletter, and he puts them out every single week. I think it's like up to 3 times a week, completely free. Check him out if you want to. And yeah, I'll connect to y'all sometime in the near future. Bye, Virgo.